People in Argentina mobilized to protest the murder of journalist and social activist Facundo Morales at the hands of the police at the autonomous city of Buenos Aires. In the UK, junior hospital doctors launched a new 4-day strike over paid restoration. In Niger, thousands of coup supporters rallied near a French military base a day after West African leaders said they would take action to reinstate the country's deposed leader. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Ana Marrero from the teleSUR headquarters in Caracas, Venezuela. We'll be with the news. Stay with us. In Argentina, organizations and social movements announced on Friday a date of mobilizations to reject the murder of the journalist and social activist Facundo Morales at the hands of the police at the autonomous city of Buenos Aires. On Thursday, social organizations carried out a political act in downtown Buenos Aires where they intercepted and repressed by police forces who end up killing journalists and political activist Facundo Morales, a member of leftist organization Popular Rebellion. Images of social media show Morales being held down against the floor by the police, an action that cost him a heart attack that ended his life.
Justice for Facundo and to say that this cannot continue to happen, that we have to confront these hard-handed discourses and this policy of the city police of Larreta's government, whose vice president is Morales. The whole election campaign made reivindications that violence, directly as it was with the people of Jujuy, and then to be applied throughout the country, and here we're seeing the consequences with the life of Facundo.
Argentina gets ready to hit the polls on Sunday to decide which candidate will represent each political force in the October general elections. Campaigning activities and rallies will close on Friday as the electoral silence comes into effect in a context of increasing social unrest brought about a murder of journalists at hands of the police and a killing of a young girl at that Brooklyn early this week. These recent events have been prompting the suspension of several closing campaigns rally. Brazilian President Luis Ignacio Lula da Silva has vindicated the use of public resources in educational programs and projects. The head of state supervised the construction of the new headquarters of the Institute of Multiple Mathematics of Rio de Janeiro, one of the largest in the region. During his speech, he made reference to those who criticized him from spending resources on this project and clarified that those designated to education are not an expense but an investment.
We are going to launch the largest investment and infrastructure program this country has ever seen. Petrobras will stop sending all its profits to the shareholders and will send part of the profits to transform itself and invest to produce more gas, to produce more oil, to produce more gas pipelines, and to produce more scientific and technological knowledge. Because Petrobras is not only an oil company, Petrobras is an energy company, and much more than that, it is the company that invests the most in research in this country, and the people will recover the pleasure of being Brazilian. And when December 31st, 2026, when my mandate ends, I want this country to be happy. I want this country to have a better paid working people. I want our children to be much happier.
In Ecuador, the court has ordered the prisoning of the 6 Colombians nationally arrested as suspect authors of the assassination of the presidential candidate. On Thursday night, on the basis of the elements of conviction presented by the prosecutions during the trial, the court decided to imprison the 6 men arrested by the National Police a few hours after the attack against Fernando Villavicencio in Quito, the capital of the country. Judicial investigations will be carried out in a 30-day period. Mexico has been able to reduce poverty by 16%. According to the National Council for the Evaluation of Social Development Police, Coneval, almost 9 million Mexicans are no longer poor. The figures increase in some cities, like the capital, where the reduction reached 21%, based on data from National Survey of Household Income of the National Institute of Statistics and Geography. The percentage of the population living in poverty dropped to 36.3% in 2022 compared to 43.9% in 2020. Let's take a very first break, but remember you can now follow us on our TikTok account as teleSUR English, where you'll be able to see news in different formats, news updates and more. Stay tuned for more news. Welcome back to From the South. The Emmy Awards ceremony, the most prestigious award in U.S. television, has been canceled due to the actors and writers' strike in Hollywood. Ceremony's organizers announced the 75th Emmy Awards ceremony has been postponed until January 2024. The screenwriters' strike, ongoing for over 100 days and joined by the Muscles Actors Guild, will have prevented the attendance of the renowned stars and celebrities, a fact that will have a negative impact ratings. Films and television writers walk back made over demands for better paid and residuals, guarantees over the future use of artificial intelligence and other working conditions. Still in the United States, because experts says the nation recorded its highest number of suicides last year, with more than 49,000 people taking their own life in 2022. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, stated that suicides are becoming more frequent in the U.S. than at any time since World War II. Experts warned that the recent increase might be driven by a range of factors, including higher rates of depression and limitability of mental health services. But a main driver is the growing availability of guns, said Jill Friedman, Senior Vice President of REACH at the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. On Friday in the UK, the junior hospital doctors launched a new 4-day strikes over paid restoration. This new strike comes aimed at recorded patients' waiting times due to a large pandemic backlog and strikes across the economy due to the worst cost of living crisis in a generation. Junior doctors are the physicians who are not senior specialists but who may still have years of experience, and they make up about half of doctors in UK hospitals.
So our dispute's been going on for over 10 months now. We asked the government in October to meet with us and discuss the issues that we were raising, which are about how our pay has dropped over 30% in the last 15 years. Unfortunately, now we're on our 5th round of strike action because the government refused to negotiate with us and produce a credible offer.
Oh, full pay restoration must happen. That's not for negotiation. What's for negotiation is how it's structured and what the time frame is. But when the government has wasted £1 billion covering 15 days of strike action, which is how much full pay restoration would have cost back in October, it's clear that this is no longer a dispute about affordability in the government's eyes. This is strictly an ideological approach from the government to try and break the resolve of doctors.
On Thursday, in the U.S. state of Hawaii, a terrifying wildfire left 80% of the historic town of Lahaina, charting the island of Maui. So far, the human toll stands at 55, making it the deadliest disaster in the history of the state.
Smoke, far away. By the time we got in the house, it was like a minute or two. We saw the black smoke coming into our house, so we have to run out, just grab whatever you can, the most important things, and run. We got in the car and we were able to see the flames from our neighbor's house burning already.
On Thursday in Bangladesh, the Director General of Health Services stated that a total of 2,959 people were diagnosed with dengue fever in the past 24 hours, the highest number in a single day so far this year. According to the health portfolio, recent reported infections have increased the number of dengue cases to 2,800 in Bangladesh so far this year. In order to fight a rising number of dengue cases, Bangladesh health authorities have threatened measures to check the breeding of mosquitoes and conduct any larval operations. On Friday morning, Russian authorities report an explosion northwest Moscow. The mayor of the capital, Sergei Poyanin, said that the blast was caused by an unmanned aerial vehicle that tried to fly over the city. The Russian Defense Ministry said that the drone was suppressed with the means of electronic warfare and crashed in a forest area in the west of the city of Moscow. The organization called the incident an attempt by the Kiev government to carry out a terrorist attack with an unmanned aerial vehicle. On Friday, the Ministry of State Security of China, the main intelligence and counterintelligence agency of the Asian country, announced in a statement the arrest of an employee of the Chinese defense company for having provided central information to the CIA. According to the agency statements, the arrested man's name is Shen and is 52-year-old and works for an arms suppliers with access to important confidential information. He was recruited by the CIA in Italy, a country to which he had gone on behalf of his company to carry out studies. Let's take our last break, but before we invite you to visit our YouTube channel at teleSUR English, where you'll be able to watch our interviews, top stories, special broadcasts, and more. Hit the subscribe button and active the notification bell to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. One financial break, don't go away. Welcome back. Friday in Niger, thousands of coup supporters rallied near a French military base a day after the West African leaders said they will take actions as part of their efforts to reinstate the country's deposed leader. Protesters near the base on the outskirts of the capital named shouted "Down with France, down with Kawas," in reference to the economic community of West African states, which on Thursday approved the deployment of a standby force to restore constitutional order. Many demonstrators waved Russian and Niger flags and yelled their support for the country's new strongman General Abdurrahman Tiani. Protesters also reject the presence of French troops and said ECOWAS decisions are not being manipulated by France. On Friday, South Africa's former president Jacob Zuma was admitted to the Electoral Correctional Center and released in less than 2 hours. The National Commissioner of the Correctional Service said Zuma's release was a part of a remission program aimed at addressing prison overcrowding. As presumed from the opposition mounted on Friday, August 11th, authorities and correctional services defended their decision. Justice and Correctional Services Minister Ronald Lamola told reporters that a former leader immediately benefited from a remission of sentences for non-violent offenders provided by President Cyril Ramaphosa. The International Federation of the Red Cross on Thursday called for financial collaboration in the face of intensifying hunger in sub-Saharan Africa. The organization points out that the current armed conflict in Africa and Ukraine intensified food insecurity in the subcontinent, which was already suffering the effects of ecological crisis and the aftermath of the pandemic. On Friday, Israeli occupation forces killed a Palestinian and wounded 8 in the raid in the occupied West Bank. Wafa news agency reported that Mohammed Jarrad was shot in the chest while Israeli soldiers were raiding the Tul Kamet refugee camp in the northern occupied West Bank. Violence in occupied Palestine was worsened over the past 15 months due to the increased Israeli riots and incursions by Jewish shelters into the Palestinian villages. Authorities in Iran reported on Friday that illegal steps taken by the government of Ibrahim Raisi for the rescue of its fauna illegally held in several countries of the world by Washington's orders could have positive results. Official Iranian sources confirmed the possibility that tangible assets located in South Korea, Iraq, and the European banks will be transferred to their legitimate owner. On the other hand, President Biden clarified that it is considering the possibility that the operation could be authorized with Qatar as administrator and with prisoner swap agreement. However, in Tehran, the government clarified that it will not accept anyone to manage its resources, and although it does not close the door to a prisoner swap, it confirms that there is nothing advanced. Syrian President Bashar al-Assad said U.S. authorities only ask, demand, take, and give nothing in their relations with other countries, alluding to the negotiations with Washington and the resolution of the conflict that broke out in 2011 in Syria. The head of state also said that this is the nature of relations with the United States since 1974. At the same time, al-Assad expressed that his country's relations with Russia and Iran provide proof that Syria knows how to choose its friends' wills, adding that Damascus never claimed to be able to fight a war, so it is normal for it to turn to those friends when it needs help.
The phrase meeting without conditions means that there is no work agenda. Without a work agenda means no preparation. No preparation means no results. Why should I and Erdogan meet? To have soft drinks. We want to reach to an obvious objective. Our objective is withdrawal from Syria land, whereas Erdogan's objective in meeting me is to legitimize the Turkish occupation in Syria. So, for that reason, we cannot meet under Erdogan's rules.
Libyan packed the street of the capital Tripoli on Thursday for the media summer night festival following the local administration's efforts to revive the city's historic centers. The governments and local authorities in the old city organized a night full of events that attract numerous locals and international tourists. The historic center of Tripoli, known as Media, is receiving more foreign visitors after the lifting of the UN embargo in 2003. Civil engineer Abdul Qudus Abul-Jad Anirid noted that Tripoli historic centers once lacked interests, but currently locals are looking after the government's and the people's efforts to restore it.
A message, not only in Libya, but even to the world, that Libya is a safe and as a good things. And the most beautiful thing is, every year we are developing.
Of course, we are very happy as citizens, as people, and as residents of the city of Tripoli to hold such nights and such events. In fact, all thanks and appreciation to the Government of National Unity and the Old City Administration, as well as the Old City Organization for Development, for reviving such events. As citizens and residents, we lack these things. We lack exhibitions and dialogue and cultural sessions.
We have come to the end of this news brief, but you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. You can also join us on our socials. We're on Facebook and Twitter and on Instagram as well. For teleSUR English and from the South, I'm Ana Marrero. Thank you for watching.